Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military figures. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the remarkable life of Cleitus the Black, a Macedonian nobleman and one of Alexander the Great's most trusted companions. Born around 375 BCE in the Kingdom of Macedon, Cleitus would go on to play a pivotal role in shaping the course of ancient history. As we journey through the early life of Cleitus, we find ourselves in the tumultuous world of ancient Macedon, a land of rugged mountains, fertile valleys, and bustling cities. The kingdom, nestled in the northern part of modern-day Greece, was a hotbed of politics, intrigue, and warfare. It was here, in the city of Pella, that Cleitus was born to his father, Drapidas, a respected member of the Macedonian nobility. Cleitus's childhood was marked by the sounds of clashing steel, the smell of sweat and leather, and the sight of phalanx formations drilling on the outskirts of the city. His family, though not of royal blood, was well-connected and influential, with ties to the ruling dynasty. Drapidas, his father, was a seasoned military officer who had fought alongside King Perdiccas III in the ill-fated campaign against the Illyrians. The historical context of Cleitus's early years was defined by significant events that would shape his future. In 359 BCE, King Perdiccas III fell in battle, leaving the throne to his brother Philip II, a man who would become one of the most influential figures in Macedonian history. Philip's military reforms, which included the introduction of the phalanx formation and the development of a professional officer corps, would have fascinated the young Cleitus. As Cleitus grew older, he began to receive formal education, studying the works of Homer, Sophocles, and Euripides, as well as learning the art of warfare from experienced instructors. He was trained in hand-to-hand combat, sword fighting, and chariot warfare, skills that would serve him well in his future campaigns. The Macedonian nobility placed great emphasis on physical fitness, and Cleitus would have been encouraged to develop his strength, agility, and endurance through rigorous exercise and athletic competition. The relationships that defined Cleitus's early life were also significant. His family ties, particularly with his father Drapidas, would have played a crucial role in shaping his values and ambitions. Additionally, his interactions with other members of the Macedonian nobility, including the young Prince Alexander, would have laid the foundation for future alliances and rivalries. As we explore the early life of Cleitus, we see the seeds of greatness being sown, a young man destined for glory, shaped by the tumultuous world of ancient Macedon. The experiences, values, and relationships that defined his formative years would ultimately contribute to his rise as one of the most trusted and respected commanders in the Macedonian army. Cleitus's military career began in earnest when he joined Alexander's army as a young officer. He quickly distinguished himself through his bravery and tactical prowess, earning the respect of his comrades and the admiration of Alexander himself. One of Cleitus's earliest notable achievements was his role in the Battle of Chaeronea, where he fought alongside Alexander against the Thebans and their allies. As Alexander's campaigns expanded into Asia Minor, Cleitus continued to prove himself as a skilled and fearless warrior. He was appointed as one of the 7 bodyguards of Alexander, a position that not only reflected his martial abilities, but also his loyalty and trustworthiness. This appointment would have given Cleitus unparalleled access to Alexander, allowing him to influence the young king's decisions and shape the course of the campaign. Cleitus's relationship with Alexander was complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, he was deeply devoted to the king and shared his vision for conquest and empire building. On the other hand, Cleitus was not afraid to speak his mind and offer counsel, even when it meant disagreeing with Alexander. This tension between loyalty and independence would ultimately contribute to the tragic events that would unfold later in Cleitus's life. One of the most significant battles in which Cleitus played a key role was the Battle of Issus, where the Macedonians faced off against the Persian Emperor Darius III. Cleitus commanded a contingent of heavy cavalry, using his tactical expertise to outmaneuver the Persian horsemen and secure a crucial victory for the Macedonians. His actions during the battle earned him widespread acclaim, and he was hailed as a hero by his comrades. Cleitus's military achievements were not limited to the battlefield. He was also a skilled administrator and diplomat, often serving as a liaison between Alexander and the local rulers of the territories they conquered. In this role, Cleitus demonstrated a keen understanding of the complexities of ancient politics, using his charm and persuasive abilities to secure alliances and negotiate treaties. Despite his many achievements, Cleitus's life was not without its challenges. He faced numerous dangers on the battlefield, including a near-fatal wound during the siege of Tyre. He also struggled with the moral implications of Alexander's conquests, particularly the brutal suppression of the Theban rebellion. These experiences would have taken a toll on Cleitus's physical and emotional well-being, testing his resolve and forcing him to confront the harsh realities of war. His relationships with Alexander and other notable figures of the time, including Hephaestion and Ptolemy, would have shaped his experiences and influenced his decisions. As Alexander's campaigns expanded into Bactria and Sogdiana, Cleitus continued to serve as one of his most trusted advisors and commanders. However, tensions began to rise between Cleitus and Alexander, particularly after the king's adoption of Persian customs and traditions. Cleitus, who had always been a staunch supporter of Macedonian values, found himself at odds with Alexander's increasingly autocratic behavior. The tension between Cleitus and Alexander finally came to a head during a drunken feast in the city of Maracanda, modern-day Samarkand. Cleitus, who had been drinking heavily, began to criticize Alexander's actions, accusing him of being ungrateful to his Macedonian soldiers and of having forgotten the values of his father Philip II. The argument escalated, with Alexander eventually striking Cleitus with a spear, killing him instantly. The death of Cleitus was a devastating blow to Alexander, who was filled with remorse and grief over his actions. He would later go on to found a city in Bactria, which he named Alexandria on the Caucasus, in honor of his fallen friend and companion. Despite the tragic circumstances surrounding his death, Cleitus's legacy lived on, and he remained one of the most respected and admired military leaders of the ancient world. His bravery, loyalty, and tactical genius inspired countless others, including Alexander himself, and his memory continued to be celebrated for centuries after his death. In the words of the ancient Greek historian Arrian, Cleitus was a man of great courage and loyalty who had been with Alexander from the beginning of his reign. He was one of the few men who were not afraid to speak their minds to the king, and his death was a tragic reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and ambition. As the great historian Plutarch once said, "The character of a man is known by the company he keeps," and Cleitus was a testament to the character of Alexander, who had chosen him as one of his closest companions. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the life of Cleitus the Black, one of the most fascinating and complex figures of the ancient world. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.